Hi, welcome back to my channel, Connections. Today we are going to talk about pain. Does pain has any meaning? Do we really have to go through pain? Does all the suffering that we go through mean anything, really? This is exactly what we're going to discuss today. We are not talking about the kind of pain, when probably your dad didn't buy a toy for you when you're sort of a child and you cried about it. Yeah, that's pain, sure, but that's not really the kind of pain going to talk about. I think a lot of us go through a lot of pain when we sort of lose our loved ones, when they sort of, some of them pass away. And I mean, there is the story of this famous poet, singer, dancer, come actress. Her name is Maya Angelou. You would have heard of her. As a 7-year old, she was raped by one of his mother's friends, and then she didn't speak about it. She only spoke about it with her brother. And her attacker died a couple of weeks after this incident happened. So essentially, like, she went through this situation where somebody raped her and that person died, and then she couldn't figure out why this whole thing happened to her. It's a traumatic experience. Later, towards 1960s, she became really famous. She became a dancer, she became a poet, she sort of became an actress and stuff like that. And then when people asked her, like, what is the reason behind your success? She said, my pain is the reason behind my success. The way I outgrew of my pain is the real reason why I'm sort of able to portray this kind of success in the world. So when we hear this kind of stories, we feel optimistic that all the pain that we personally went through have some kind of meaning for us, unless we spoil it, right? I think pain is meaningful if you can really do 3 things. Number 1, you have to understand that the pain or trauma or any kind of emotionally bad experience, it can be somebody you love sort of moving on or sort of moving away from your life, or somebody you're really close to sort of passing away, or going through some kind of business failure or health crisis, or having bad parents as a child, simply, right? So all these traumatic experiences that you went through, they're not your fault. You have to first understand that they happened to you and they're not your fault. But having said that, when they happened to you, you didn't have the mental faculties to deal with them, or you're not in a situation to sort of rationalize them and then sort of consciously make decisions about, how should I think about this, how should I process this and stuff like that. So you have to acknowledge that. Number 1, it's not your fault. Number 2, when you went through those traumatic experiences, you sort of flipped through it without processing it, or you didn't have the mental faculties to process it. Maybe as a child you didn't have it, or everything happened so quickly, or you're so stressed, you didn't get the time. The idea is simply, because you didn't get the time then, because you didn't have the faculties then, the idea is to build those faculties, because you're still responsible for your pain. So your pain is not your fault. You might not have had the mental faculties or the physical faculties to deal with the pain you went through, but then it's still your responsibility to sort of build yourself to process it now, or process it along the way. So deal with your pain, face it. So it's not your fault, it's your responsibility. This is the first takeaway. I think this is the best way to deal with your pain. Number 2, I think pain also is very defining to us. We start identifying, what's more important in life. I mean, a person who sort of lost relationships will understand the value of relationships. So he sort of gets more invested into sort of subtle things about relationships. Most often when we have a lot, we sort of overlook a lot of small things. Maybe how beautiful a flower is, or how beautiful a bird is, how valuable the nature is and stuff like that. So when you go through pain, it can be also a wonderful opportunity to look at the little things you missed out on in the earlier part of your life, and then really sort of deeply reflect, what is it that is truly valuable to you, truly important to you, and what is the source of your emotional maturity or emotional happiness. So pain is definitely an opportunity to understand what you are about and what you want out of your life. So look at pain as an opportunity. Number 3, don't bottle up, don't hide, Don't sort of go inside a room and shut the doors and not talk about your pain to anybody. Find a bunch of people you can talk to. Talk about your pain. Be proud of your pain. Talk about your pain. Talk about the emotional experience you went through. Find a comfort zone. Find bunch of people whom you can sort of engage with, discuss your pain with, and be super honest with yourself as well as them about what happened to you. So that sometimes they might look at it from a different perspective, or they're just listening and stuff like that, and that might help you sort of look at this whole thing from a different point of view and process it differently from how you have seen it as you went through that pain. So I think the third takeaway is you should really sort of talk about your pain, be authentic, talk about your pain, don't hide it. I think if we can do these three things, instead of going onto an entirely different path, like sort of drowning in alcohol to distract yourself, or sort of indulging in a lot of drugs or sex or stuff like that to sort of just distract from the pain you sort of went through, or just look for escapes, or hiding under a lot of work to sort of escape from your pain and stuff like that. Face it, it's not your fault. Take responsibility of it. Outgrow your pain. Build the capacity to sort of process this pain, which the capacity you didn't have as pain happened to you. Talk about it, and then truly reflect on what's important to you from your experience of pain. I think if we can do this, then we can sort of achieve the state of mind which probably Maya Angelou achieved when she told the reason for her success is the pain that she went through. Probably this is exactly what she has done, in the sense she has sort of looked at this whole pain as an opportunity to flip herself and then build a better life and become an example and actually talk about this pain to millions of people. I think pain is meaningful, and this meaning has to be created for yourself, by yourself. Good luck. Thank you. Subscribe to my channel.